Have you ever reached for a cigarette without even thinking about it? You finish your coffee and suddenly there's a cigarette in your hand. You get in your car and before you know it, you're lighting up. You step outside after a meal and it's already happening. You didn't make a conscious decision. You didn't sit there and think, I really want a cigarette right now. It just happened automatically. And here's what makes this so frustrating. You can't quit something you're doing unconsciously. You can't fight an urge you don't even notice until it's already in motion. This automatic. Let's start with how habits actually form in your brain. Every habit, including smoking, operates on what neuroscientists call the habit loop. It has three parts: a cue, a routine, and a reward. Here's how it works with smoking. The cue is any trigger in your environment or emotional state. It could be finishing a meal, feeling stressed, seeing other smokers, getting in your car, having a drink, or even just feeling bored. The routine is the behavior itself. You pull out a cigarette, light it, and smoke it. Then comes the reward, and this is where it gets interesting because the reward isn't just the nicotine, it's also the ritual, the break from whatever you were doing, the deep breathing, maybe the social connection if you're smoking with others. The first few times you smoke, this is a conscious process. You think about it, you make a decision, but here's what happened. Every time you complete this loop, your brain releases dopamine. And dopamine doesn't just make you feel good, it also acts like a save button in your brain. It tells your brain this sequence of events is important. Remember this, make it easier to do. Now let's talk about the specific part of your brain that makes this happen, the basal ganglia. The basal ganglia is an ancient part of your brain that's responsible for automatic behaviors. It's why you can drive home without thinking about every turn, why you can brush your teeth while planning your day, why you can walk without consciously thinking about, each step. This is actually an incredibly useful function because imagine if you had to consciously think about every single action you took. You'd be mentally exhausted within an hour. Your brain automates repeated behaviors to free up your conscious mind for new challenges and decisions. But here's the problem: your basal ganglia can't tell the difference between a helpful habit and a destructive one. It doesn't judge, it just automates whatever you repeat frequently. So when you first started smoking, your prefrontal cortex was involved. That's the part of your brain responsible for decision making and willpower. You were making conscious choices, but as the behavior. Now here's something most people don't realize. Your automatic smoking isn't just triggered by one thing. It's triggered by entire context. Your brain doesn't just learn, when I'm stressed, I smoke. It learns dozens of specific contexts. When I'm in my car on the morning commute, I smoke. When I'm on the specific chair on my porch with my morning coffee, I smoke. When I'm at this bar with these friends, I smoke. When I finish this particular task at work, I smoke. Each context creates its own cue routine reward loop. Each one has its own neural pathway. This is why you might successfully avoid smoking in most situations, but then you encounter one specific trigger and suddenly you're lighting up again before you even realize what happened. That particular context has its own automatic program running in your basal ganglia. It's also why changing your environment can help with quitting. If you go on vacation, you might find it easier not to smoke because you're away from all your usual triggers. Your brain isn't encountering the cues that automatically activate the smoking routine. But here's the challenge: you can't vacation forever. Eventually you come back to your normal life and all those context dependent triggers are still there waiting to activate. This is why people can quit for weeks or even months, and then one day they're in a familiar situation and suddenly they're smoking again. They think, well, what happened? I was doing so well. But what really happened is they encountered a powerful contextual cue that their basal ganglia still associates with smoking. And this is exactly why my 14-day program focuses on rewiring these automatic patterns, not just fighting against them with willpower. We identify your specific triggers, we understand the reward you're actually seeking, and we create new automatic behaviors that give you what you actually need without the cigarettes. If you're tired of smoking on autopilot and you're ready to take back control, book a free call with me. The link is in the description below. We'll map out your. Now let's talk about what happens in your brain when a cue triggers the automatic routine. but you don't smoke. You feel a craving, and here's what most people don't understand about the cravings. They're not a sign that you need a cigarette. They're a sign that your basal ganglia expected to complete the habit loop and didn't. Think of it like this. Imagine you always turn on the light when you walk into your kitchen. One day the light bulb is burned out. You flip the switch, nothing happens. There's a split second of confusion, maybe even frustration. Your brain expected one thing and got another. That's essentially what craving is. Your brain says, wait, we always smoke after coffee. Why aren't we smoking after coffee? Something's wrong, fix it. The cravings feel urgent and powerful because your basal ganglia is trying to get you back on track with the established routine. It's not because your body desperately needs nicotine in that moment. It's because your brain expected to execute an automatic sequence and was interrupted. And here's the most important thing to understand. Cravings are temporary. They rise, they peak, they fall, usually within 3 to 5 minutes. They come in waves. Most people panic when they feel a craving. They think this feeling is going to keep getting. So if smoking becomes automatic through repetition, can you make not smoking automatic through repetition? Absolutely, but you can't just delete an automatic behavior. You have to replace it. Your brains need something to do when it encounters those cues. This is where most quit attempts go wrong. People try to do nothing when they get a craving. They try to just resist, but your basal ganglia doesn't understand nothing. It needs a routine. The most effective approach is to keep the cue, keep the reward, but change the routine. This is called habit substitution. For example, if your cue is finish a meal and your reward is a moment of relaxation and transition, you can create a new routine that provides that same reward. Maybe it's a 5-minute walk, or a specific breathing exercise, or a piece of gum paired with stepping outside. The key is repetition. The first time you do the new routine, it requires conscious effort. Your prefrontal cortex has to override your basal. So here's what we've covered. Smoking becomes automatic because your brain creates neural pathways through repetition. The basal ganglia takes over your prefrontal cortex, making the behavior unconscious and effortless. These automatic routines are triggered by specific contexts, and they're maintained by the habit loop of cue, routine, and reward. The way to break free isn't to fight against these automatic patterns without willpower. It's to understand them, interrupt them, and systematically replace them with new automatic behaviors that actually serves you. This is the foundation of everything I teach in my 14-day program. If you're ready to stop smoking on autopilot and start living with intention, click the link in the description and book your free call. Thanks for watching. Hit that subscribe button for more insights on breaking free from smoking, and I'll see you in the next video.